with actual weapons, with actual guns, not
rifles,
archery, with rifles. When not primitive guns, but when you can take a rifle out and go deer hunting. What date is that? And if you know it, we'll save you $40 and send you to GON's Outdoor Blast. 404-741-1230 is the number. Win right now on Xtra 106.3. One thing that happened, the country did not win yesterday. I guess reconciliation has been renamed the Inflation Reduction Act of 2020, right? Yeah, which will do anything but, because it's this astronomical amount of money still, and it will not address the problems that it says it will address. Just like Build Back Better wasn't going to address those problems, are going to make them worse, and I expect that this will too. But the one person that we thought we could depend on, the one person we thought we had that had a level head on the Democrat side of the aisle was Joe Manchin. And he's
abandoned us.
He's abandoned us. He's went over to the dark side.
This is why you can never trust anybody on the left side.
That's right.
Even the moderates. No, listen, he's made a huge mistake here. And I almost wonder, like, at one point I was like, okay, he did this for political gain. It has to be.
There's no other reason.
Because he really turned his back on his own people.
Right, midstream.
And this is a guy who I thought was great because he listened to the people of West Virginia. He listened to the people who want energy independence. And what he did in doing this was he's opened it up to destroy that entire economy in West Virginia and take away their main industry. And they're trying to move to the entire EV system. And what's going on with the money that's going into this? We talk about pork. We talked about pork earlier when we're talking about the China competition bill, which has now kind of been renamed to I don't know, maybe just call it chips. I don't know. The Poncherella bill. That'd be cool. But the reality of it is that they're putting all the pork in there to help other things, and this is going to be the same thing. Help
is a kind way of putting it.
Right, and everything is to push the whole EV, to get away from fossil fuels, to get away from petroleum. But they are cutting off their nose despite their face, because this is going to continue to fail.
That's what they always
do. It's not going to work.
Build Back Better, the reconciliation framework is pretty much in all this. And if you recall, back in 2021, he said, we can't do this, hiding the true cost of the legislation, budget gimmicks, shell games, and he just took a beating from the left. And but that's the thing. Of course, for them, as he should. For us, on the side of you're not voting for Build Back Better, it only made sense that he said those things because they're correct. They're not showing you the true cost. Now he's saying, in addition to fighting with this new the disguised reconciliation bill, in addition to fighting inflation, we must stop pretending there's only one way to combat global climate change or achieve American energy independence. How about that?
Yeah.
That's the line that stood out to me more than anything else, fighting inflation and achieving American energy independence.
Yeah.
Hang on. What?
Yeah.
It's silly, and you're right. He has turned his back on his constituency in West Virginia because they're coal mining folks. Yeah. That's what happens there. And you're seeing in Europe, because of the same energy policies that we're trying to implement here, they were ahead of us by about 25 years, and now are reopening all their coal mining factories and their coal mines and that whole coal industry because they know they need it. They don't have energy independence, though they've relied on green, so-called quote-unquote green energy for the last 25 years or so. So everything that he has signed on for was what he was against, 6 months ago.
Yeah, and, they pulled one over on the Republicans because, Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said, hey, we're going to kill the China bill if you continue to push through with this, this ridiculous, again, if it acts like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. This is Build Back Broke, just in a different form. And they want to put it in there to make you feel better because they know what is the most important thing facing Americans when it comes to the polls in November? Inflation. So they're calling this the Inflation Reduction Act. It's not going to...
It does everything but.
My God,
when you're spending this kind of money, it's clear what's going to happen. Inflation is going to get worse. It is going to happen.
I am not a violent person. You know, I mean, I can get violent, and I'm good at it. But I will tell you right now,
I'm good at it.
If a Democrat comes up to me and be like, "Well, this is an inflation reduction bill, and it's made to like, what are you so against making reductions? And this is going to help." No, I'm going to punch you right in the nose at that point, because I need to wake you up, because you're just a complete moron. If you really believe spending more money, billions and billions of dollars, the way we're spending, the way they're doing it behind your back, do you know we've already spent $9.8 billion on Ukraine? What have we gotten out of it? Nothing. Why aren't they helping us? This isn't to help us. This isn't to help anyone but their friends in political office. This does nothing for anyone. And I'm telling you right now, this is going to come back. But this is only for November. The only reason they're pushing this through. I hope it fails. I hope every single member in the Senate that is a Democrat catches COVID-19 and misses this vote. Has to be out for as long, because that's how dangerous this is.
It totally is.
I am literally wishing someone gets sick, and I don't want any of them to get any sicker than the sniffle it really is. But I want you to take all 10 days and stay out of the Senate.
They'll figure out a way.
Of course they will. But you know what? We have to find a way now to squash one of these two bills, because again, you know, you got $51 million or $58 million going into this China Competition Act, which really does nothing except for open up again just a way for Green New Deal. That's all that is. This is Green New Deal Part 2. Right. What they've done is, and what you guys, the misinformation is, they broke up Build Back Better. Mm-hmm. Now you have an $81 million going to research into climate change, blah, 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 for their Green New Deal in a computer chip. Right. Then you have $51 million that you know about that is being funded. Then you have Build Back Better now, which is going to cost us. And even after telling you it's not going to cost you a thing, oh no, Manchin, you know it's going to cost all of us a thing, because what's the number one thing?
A lot.
IRS
what
enforcement.
Do they do?
Money's going to IRS
what
enforcement. We're going to pay for it by IRS.
So we're going after taxpayers to squeeze them even farther and even more. And that's the thing. Everything comes down to you're paying more in taxes. And we had a story earlier, and we talked about, I think it was in the 6 o'clock hour, how because of our spending and the way that we're spending now as a country and spending in ourselves into debt, into oblivion, that our spending will actually double our GDP in 2052, and it'll be 2030 is when everything is expected to hit, and that's going to be detrimental to you and your family. Taxes could be at 90% like they were during World War II.
Tug, they tell us all the time that the reason we're not in a recession is because why? Wages are up. The job looks good. Well, the job looks good for 3 reasons, right? Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Yeah. That's the 3 reasons. But
red states.
Even better than that, right? What are they telling you in this? They're telling you we're going to raise the corporate taxes. We are going to really penalize job creators. So what's Ford doing right now? They're a union company. What's their first idea? To get rid of employees. So how can you sit here and say we're not going into a recession, then put in a bill that will cost every American an opportunity at a job if they're working for some of these places that are going to be taxed higher? You don't think this is going to filter down to small businesses?
Of course it is. How could it not?
Of course. And we're already in a problem. So what are you going to do? If you're a business and you got to look at the bottom line, you're going to be like Elon Musk. You're going to be like Ford. You're going to like, hey, the first thing we need to cut.
I got to cut.
Yeah, they're going to be employees, salaries.
I'm going to raise prices. And cut salaries, because that's your biggest expense. It is in every
Inflation Reduction Act.
Yes, it's so ridiculous. Anyway,
I'd like
another
to
thing.
inflate something up here.
Hey now, we've already had to dump out earlier. Let's not do it again. This is the Morning Extra and Xtra 106.3. Going back to a discussion we had at the end of the last hour at 7 o'clock was the polling numbers good for Kemp and looked pretty good for Herschel Walker, which I'm thrilled by, because Herschel Walker will do exactly what Raphael Warnock is going to do, except on the conservative side. And I sat down for lunch with a friend yesterday, and he says, Tug, I can't do it. I cannot vote for Herschel Walker. And I couldn't wrap my head around why. And I said, so what are you going to vote for Raphael Warnock? What are you thinking? I mean, that's a step in the wrong direction. And he said, no, I'm just not going to vote. And that, I think, is a vote for Raphael Warnock. I'm afraid that is going to hit us. So, and I'm starting to hear that more and more and more. That's a second friend out of the blue that said, I cannot vote for Herschel Walker, and I can't understand why.
Yeah, it's idiotic. It's completely idiotic because you know what Raphael Warnock is doing? The same exact thing that Herschel Walker will do when he's in Senate. 96% of the time, Raphael Warnock votes with Joe Biden. He does what he's told by the people above him. Are you happy with those policies? Are you happy with the economy you're going in? If you can answer that and say, yes, you are, number one, you're an idiot. Number two, you're lying. One of the two. Yeah. Both of them, I don't know. Yeah. You may be both.
They're equally bad.
But would you rather, because that's exactly what Herschel Walker's going to do, he's going to be told what to vote on. He's going to vote with what the other people are going to vote on. He's going to stand up there and take pictures just like Warnock.
At least he has a good moral compass.
He has a good moral compass.
We know where his head's at. We know that he is not in favor of abortion to the moment of birth, like Raphael Warnock. We know that he's going to vote against anything that is detrimental to the United States, which is a good thing in my view. Is he a flawed candidate? Yes. I'm not trying to pretend he's not. So
every candidate is flawed.
Every flawed. That's exactly right.
Every candidate is flawed. Raphael Warnock is no different than Herschel Walker. You want to call Herschel Walker a liar? You're talking about a reverend who said abortion is okay up until 9 months.
To the moment of birth. Not just 9 months, to the moment of birth.
Yeah, you're talking about a reverend who lied about being a reverend when he said something like GD America. You're talking about a reverend who lied when it came to and is hiding what's going on in his child custody case. Right. You want to talk about being a bad father when it comes to Herschel? Turn the mirror around.
Where are those stories? Where are the opposing side stories?
Yeah,
the AJC is not writing stories about Raphael Warnock having the same issues as Herschel Walker.
I'd rather vote for someone who is going to vote with a Republican, vote with a conservative who has every American's values deep in their heart and know that's going to help the American people than someone who is going to vote with someone like Joe Biden who can't even tie a shoe.
I do not understand that thought process. It makes no sense.
Yeah, you're an idiot if you say that.
No sense to me whatsoever.
You're an idiot if you say that. Now, if you're just a Democrat and you're like, yeah, I just hate Herschel, okay, well, I understand. But if you're a Republican that says, I'm going to vote for Kent because, I'm going to, but I'm not going to vote for Herschel because I don't know why. You can't give me a good reason why.
Yeah, well, they would say he's such a flawed candidate, and he
okay.
And then I was told, he can't win. That's the other reason I'm not going to vote. Well, you're ensuring that by not voting. Yeah, it just makes no sense.
You know what? We should be allowed to do a citizen's arrest on their voter registration. Sir, what'd you just say?
Right.
You don't know anything about politics. Give me your
citizens on patrol.
Yeah.
This is the Morning Extra 106.3. Tug, Rhino, and Carlos Medina, who's out on vacation along with Flounder. A WNBA deal that may be detrimental to anyone who's concerned about the safety of everyone in America. Next on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Start your mornings the right way with Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra.
That's why I can't sleep in the car with the wife driving. Yeah, we go through tires. I'm like, you don't have to slam the brakes on. You don't have to drive up to someone in traffic and slam the brakes every time.
So you ease those down.
Yeah, she gets all upset too. Why are you holding the handle? What do you mean? Why do you look nervous?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're driving.
Because I am.
Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station is Extra 106.3.
Main Street Guns and Range in Lilburn has the largest selection of firearms in the region, the largest variety of ammo calibers in Georgia, and the most knowledgeable staff anywhere. Whether you're a first-time gun buyer or a seasoned pro, Main Street Guns and Range is here to serve you. Don't miss this month's special, the Taurus G2C 9mm concealed carry handgun, regularly $289.99, is on sale now at the lowest price ever, $199.99 after mail-in rebate. Only while supplies last. Learn more at mainstreetgunsandrange.com.
Not tuning in? Well, here's what you're missing.
The differences are plain, folks. If a Republican doesn't like guns, he doesn't buy one. If a Democrat doesn't like guns, he wants all guns outlawed. If a Republican is a vegetarian, he doesn't eat meat. If a Democrat is a vegetarian, he wants all meat products banned for everybody. If a Republican is a non-believer, he doesn't go to church. A Democrat non-believer, an atheist, will tell you he's an atheist before he tells you his name. And if a Republican Republican decides he needs health care, well, he goes about shopping for it, or he may choose a job that provides it. Democrat, no. They demand that everybody else step up and pay for their health care for them. If a Republican doesn't like a talk show host, he switches channels. Democrats demand that talk show host be fired and shut down immediately.
The Neil Bork Show, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Xtra 106.3.
The first time I'd ever seen interior shutters was in Florida in a house we had rented. My wife fell in love with them, and then we happened to be walking through the neighborhood, and another home had them as well. At that point, my wife said, we need to get those for our house. She had the vision. I had no idea. So I started looking around, and I ran across Castleberry shutters. They've been around since 1954. They are your source for shutters, and they're right there in Woodstock, Georgia. Why should you choose Castleberry shutters? Because they only use wood that is sourced from the United States. Right here at home, made in America. Just so you know, most of the shutters made by other companies are made from Chinese Communist Party wood, not at Castleberry Shutters. They don't use Chinese wood. Every set of shutters made at Castleberry are custom built in-house by Georgia professionals, and the shutters must pass an inspection before they are put in your home. Maybe you're like me, wondering how much difference can indoor shutters really make? You'd be surprised. Go to castleberryshutters.com. Mention me, hey, it's Tug, and they'll give you a 25% discount.
The President's Corner.
President Biden announced he'd tested negative for COVID, and after isolating for 5 days, spoke from the Rose Garden Wednesday.
My symptoms were mild, my recovery was quick, and I'm feeling great.
He said he was infected with the now dominant COVID strain BA.5, which is considered incredibly transmissible and immune evasive. But he said while the pandemic is still with us, deaths and cases of serious illness have plummeted.
When my predecessor got COVID, he had to get helicoptered to Walter Reed Medical Center. He was severely ill. Thankfully, he recovered. When I got COVID, I worked from upstairs of the White House, and the office is upstairs, and for that 5-day period. The difference is vaccinations, of course.
As well as widely available tests and treatments like Paxlovid, which is what the president received. He also said his administration's made high-quality masks available and encouraged people to use them, but added that he hopes the next generation of vaccines will prevent illness from COVID in the first place. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Hey, it's Rhino for True Prep. True Prep on Cobb Parkway is your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. They also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. They are locally owned and operated. You can visit their store in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's TRU prep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
I wake up every morning with the Morning Extra.
And we appreciate you being here at 404-741-1230. Jumping around on the phone, Lewis is, you wanted to ask about sports or talk about sports. Lewis, what's on your mind? Welcome to the Morning Extra.
Good morning, guys. I know Rhino was talking about how else you can watch sports. Well, I use on my iPhone an app called Dofu Sports. Now, whether or not it's legal or illegal, but it is fantastic because you can watch all major sports. You got to click on a link. You know, you got to fight a couple of ads, but it's easy, and I don't have to pay for any subscriptions.
Goodness.
And I watched my Mets whip the Yankees' tail these past couple nights, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Dofu Sports. DOFU Sports.
There you go. And it's so funny, man. I'm guessing you're liking the fact that Joey Gallo can't hit.
Yes, and that Giancarlo Stanton wasn't in the lineup.
Yeah. What do you think about Robinson Cano here? I was giving him a hard time, man. He's done, man.
Yeah, the Braves are still a hot team, though, man. We got to watch out. They're the ones we got to come for. So even though we're in first place, that don't matter because the Mets haven't been proven to be a second-half team in about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, I like their collapse at the end of the season every year.
So, Lewis, let me ask you: living here in town, do you have a soft spot for the Braves, or you just pull against them all the time?
I pulled against them all the time except for the World Series last year.
Okay.
I thought that the way we got shafted with the All-Star game, that was the best way to stick the family-friendly to Rob Manfred and the MLB and all the liberals. But other than that, No, I cannot ever support the Braves because then that goes back to my Mets.
That's fair.
That's fair enough, man. I got no problems with it. Lewis, thank you so much for listening, man. Appreciate you, and you drive carefully. You sound like you're driving down the interstate. Be safe, headed to work, wherever you're headed. And thank you for supporting us here at Xtra 106.3. We appreciate it. Yeah, man.
Hasta luego.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
That's my Boricua.
So
I love that, man.
We got to get to our own Mario Lopez into this extra entertainment here on Xtra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
Extra. All right, I am your Mario Lopez for the day. I'm going to let you kick this one off. Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA. Boy, is he out of touch of the USA.
$5,000 tickets to go see Bruce Springsteen. Look, you'd have to pay me to go see Bruce Springsteen, to be honest with you. But to say that he's a guy for the working man is absurd and silly at $5,000 a ticket. And I know they're using this as hey, we're doing this to stick it to the scalpers. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? You're charging $5,000 to stick it to the scalpers?
No, you're sticking it to your fans.
Yeah, I'll go with the scalpers.
Yeah. Good Lord, it makes no sense whatsoever. Bruce Springsteen. I know my wife actually, through the company, had to buy tickets for Bruce Springsteen the other day, and I think they came down to, it wasn't quite $5,000 a ticket here in town, but it was like $4,000 for a pair or two pairs, and so it's still, man, $4,000 to go see a concert?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I'm kind of glad because this is a hero to the left a lot of times. I mean, if you
completely.
I don't know who thought he was ever conservative in any way whatsoever, just because he sung a song called "Born in the USA,"
which is very anti-American. If you listen to
anti-American if you actually listen to it. But these guys are complaining like, all the liberals, all the crazies are like, I can't believe he'd do this to his fans. Blah blah blah. You look, you vote for people who do this to you every single day.
It's exactly right. How
you guys
are
miss idiots.
How do you miss it?
I hope no one shows up. I hope he doesn't sell any tickets.
They will.
And you know what? People will show up, but they're saying right now only 1.3% of tickets have sold for $1,000 or more. So they're not selling the tickets right now. So good. I hope it falls apart.
They will.
Speaking of money, I'm hoping that somebody wins money. The hashtag Sue the View is trending pretty hard. And why? Well, because once again, they use false information, lies. They are the queens of misinformation, a bunch of cackling hens more than anything else. Of course, we talked about Turning Point USA, which is a youth organization where students from all over the country come, most of them either high school or college students. Now, here's what happened, okay? Antifa overtook the building at one point and was protesting against them. They were thrown out. They start causing all sorts of trouble. I'm not saying that it's the same exact group, but I'm saying it's the same exact group.
Seems like a strong possibility.
Same group, and as we talk about it, go look up Jonathan Sullivan, Black Bloc member who broke the glass that Ashley Babbitt got shot over. This is the same exact thing. Well, guess what? Of course, Whoopi Goldberg falsely claims that the student-focused conservative organization is embracing those neo-Nazis, and that is furthest from the truth. In fact, videos show some of these students going up telling them to get out of here. We don't want you here. Go away. They continue to do it. They actually had to make one apology during the show. After making that, of course, Whoopi Goldberg never said anything. Joy Behar goes even worse. Don't we have some of this audio?
So on Monday, we talked about the fact that there were openly neo-Nazi demonstrators outside the Florida Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and that they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group, quote, 100% condemns those ideologies, and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove the neo-Nazis from the area but could not because they were on public property. Also, Turning Point USA wanted us to clarify that this was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event.
Yeah.
So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear on these points.
And the other thing is Turning Point USA sent The View a cease and desist letter, and that's why they did that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they knew.
Well, they're getting sued.
Yeah,
and Charlie Kirk should sue them. I wish he would. Do we have any of Whoopi Goldberg or Joy Behar's talk?
No, because they didn't. They just they literally sat there.
That's that.
Yes.
But we do have some really good Whoopi Goldberg audio if y'all want to hear.
Well, hold on one second, because I'm going to tell you what Joy Behar said first real quick. She said neo-Nazis were out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs and, the Nazi swastika and a picture of a so-called Jewish person with exaggerated features, just like Goebbels did during the Third Reich. It's the same thing right out of the same playbook. And then, of course, Sarah Haynes was the voice you heard. She was the only one who apologized, but she even continued on with it. And it's just
they're all
ironic.
idiots.
Yeah, let's play some Whoopi because she's brilliant.
I mean, she's just to set this up, she was on The View the other day, and she was claiming that Dr. Jill Biden needs to be the new Surgeon General.
Talked about this, yeah.
Dr. Jill becomes the Surgeon General. His wife.
You're stupid.
Joe Biden's wife, because he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor.
Yeah.
She's an amazing doctor.
Yeah, she's a hell of a doctor.
Being the Surgeon
She
General.
hung up letters on the wall so all the kids could learn their letters.
But listen to all the clowns in the back, though.
Oh, they're idiots.
That are there viewing The View. Oh, this is so smart.
See, these are the kind of things where if you go to The View and you clap for things like that, when you leave, your voter registration should be revoked at that moment, because that's how stupid you are.
Anyway,
I hate you people sometimes. Hate is such a strong word. I hate that you guys have been tricked into believing anything these people. This should be removed. This TV show should be removed because of false information. Why? I want to make sure that ABC, that's who puts this on, that garbage?
Yep.
Okay, I want the ABC executives to now put a warning label that this show contains nothing but false information and lies.
That's exactly right, man. You don't got to convince me, man. I think anybody who watches it is dumber for having watched it, and really, really incredibly stupid for flipping it on to begin with. So, I mean, you can't, I don't know that you can get dumber, but.
No, listen, I turned it, it was on out of the corner of my eye, I saw it, and I literally walked into a wall. That's how stupid I got.
Well, no, but like for me, I refuse to even let my TV be on. I don't want them to have a second of view. I know, but I'm saying at my home, like if we leave it on a channel and one of those shows, as soon as I turn it on, I turn it to anything but that, because I don't want them to have a second of my viewership. And I know that sounds petty, and probably is, but I don't care. All right, the other story that we're going to get to is Brittany Griner. I've said many times I want her to come home because she's an American. She's been anti-American many times, but I think she could be, if she is released, could be a force for good about how great America is. I don't know that she will, but that's me being hopeful. Yesterday, she actually said she didn't get her Miranda rights read to her. You think?
Yeah, really?
That's because they don't exist.
Yeah, they also said that there was those were medical marijuana, but that only happened after. And then they even had to admit that, no, that's not why she brought it, for medical purposes. She had no medical paper. She's a complete liar. Listen, she could stay there for all I care. Because I'm not trading a Russian arms dealer for an annoyance like her. Someone who has no respect for anybody except for the selfish movement that the left wants. She doesn't care about anybody else. She went into Russia thinking she's better than everyone else. She should be able to get away with something like that.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's that entitlement. It's that living in a bubble. It's ignorance. I don't think we should trade an arms dealer for her and one other guy, because it could be incredibly detrimental.
No, you hate this country. Stay.
Well, but that too. Anyway, that does it for us. Make it a great day. Y'all come back now, you hear?
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
May have told you this one before, but it bears repeating. Texas State Representative Terry Meza, a Democrat, of course, wants to repeal the Castle Doctrine law in Texas, the law that allows you to protect your home, your castle, and those in it with deadly force. So in arguing to get rid of the Castle Doctrine, this Democrat, of course, argues that, well, thieves only carry weapons for self-protection, and it provides the homeowner an incentive to cooperate with them. They just want to get their stuff and get away. If the resident tries to fight back, then somebody's going to get hurt. They won't get hurt if only one side is armed, the thief. Mesa's law would require the homeowner to flee their home if there's a home invasion. And if they cannot flee, then they would be legally required to cooperate with the invader. It would be the homeowner's responsibility to make sure that the home invader does not get hurt. And if the home invader is hurt, they would be allowed to sue the homeowner. Again, a law proposed by a Democrat, of course. Mesa says, well, in most instances, the thief needs the money more than the homeowner does anyway. And on balance, it's a transfer of property, and it will lead to a more equitable distribution of the wealth. Are you listening to this? Yeah, a home invasion contributes to a more equitable distribution of the wealth. Mesa says, if my bill can help make this transfer a peaceful one, so much the better. By the way, did I tell you that Terry Mesa was a Democrat? Did I need to? Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Central Heating and Air Conditioning is one of a few second-generation locally owned and operated HVAC companies in Atlanta. Hey, it's Tug for Central Heating and Air. With Central, you're not just a number. You're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers here in Atlanta. Since the last couple of years have been really tough